Hello everybody and welcome to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Louis Fell and in today's video I'll be taking you through my dream summer. We've already looked at a couple of our team members, we've looked at Jay's, we've looked at James's, now it's time for Louis. So stay tuned, we'll go through the outgoings, the ingoings, what is my dream summer. First of all, make sure that you do leave a like and subscribe on the channel. It massively helps us out. And we've recently hit 5,000 subscribers, which is absolutely incredible. So first of all, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to every single one of you who has chosen to subscribe and become a part of the LFC Transfer Room Committee, as I would prefer to call, but have been told not to. Let's start with the outgoings for my dream summer. I'm not going to worry too much about, the players out on loan, the youth setup. I'm going to focus on regular team members who look like they're on their way out / are already on their way out, and people that I'd like to kick out of the club, but I'm not that harsh. So let's get into it. Outbounds, 100% Divock Origi gone. Fair enough. Got some money for him. No worries. Takumi Minamino is an interesting one. I'd personally really prefer it if we kept him. I think there's very few people you could get back or bring through the academy or develop that can give you the consistent output that he has with such limited minutes on the pitch as Takumi Minamino. Of course, our top goal scorer in both the domestic cup competitions, which of course were the only cups that we did win this year. I think it would be a massive mistake to let him go, because although we are investing in our front line, we've got Luis Diaz in January. Fabio Carvalho can play across the front three, it's believed. And Darwin Núñez looks all but completed. Is he going to want to risk all of them consistently in the early stages of the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup? Maybe, maybe not. Are any of those players going to be happy with consistently sitting on the bench, apart from maybe Carvalho? Maybe not. I think Minamino, if it's just down to him, if he wants to go, then fine, let's not stand in his way. If there's a chance we could convince him to stay, a chance we could keep him, I think that's something that we absolutely should look into and should do. Although £17 million is a hell of a way to recoup your investment on someone who's never really broken into the Premier League picture. Elsewhere, Loris Karius is gone, bless him, his nightmare is over. I hope he can make it somewhere else. Naby Keita, I'd keep him. A lot of people are pining over his performances, pining for us to side Jude Bellingham. Is he or is he not on my list? You'll find out. But interestingly, over the last few seasons, some of his Bundesliga seasons as well, Naby Keita and Jude Bellingham's stats have been very, very similar. There's not a massive difference. Now, you could argue Jude Bellingham has a higher ceiling. You could argue that the money would be worth it. We could recoup some for Keita, use that on Bellingham. I don't know. Bellingham looks like it won't happen till next year. But Naby Keita, I think he deserves to stay. I think this has been his best season, injury-wise and performance-wise. And I think there's much more room for him to still improve and still show his absolute best that we thought we were getting when he originally moved to Liverpool. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, thank God he's gone. I don't have agendas against many players, but Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is one of those. I always felt like his performances before that injury against Roma were massively overplayed, massively caught up in nostalgia by some, but a lot of people thought he was brilliant until that injury hit. I had my reservations then. I've had my reservations ever since. Fair play, that injury has somewhat curtailed his career, which is a massive shame. I don't want to be too harsh. That is a massive shame for him, and I wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavours. But for Liverpool, he was never a starting midfielder for what Klopp is looking for in a midfield. Not just someone to occasionally, to try many times to smack one in from 30 yards and occasionally get them in, but for the work rate, the complexity that he asks, the maturity, I just don't think that's Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain's game. And I, as I said, I wish him well wherever he does end up, and I hope we have seen the last of him in a Liverpool shirt, unfortunately. I think that covers a lot of the outgoings. If I've missed any, if there's any that you would change, please do let me know in the comments below. And make sure that, as I said, you do like this video and subscribe to the channel. I forgot to mention, you can also do memberships now. You can press the join button. There should also be a link in the video description below for memberships. You get some exclusive badges, and down the line, once we've got a few more members, we'll start posting some exclusive content for you guys as well. So make sure you do get involved in that. But let's have a look at the incomings, the important bit, the massive bit, the dream in Dream Summer for myself. Let's look at what we've already done. Luis Diaz, a January signing, but he was a summer signing, and you know, we're not going to get one instead of Luis Diaz. Luis Diaz, very much a summer signing. Fabio Carvalho, we've known about for ages, and soon we'll get that absolute official, you know, the picture. We've had the confirmation from the club, but soon we'll get that picture, that signing picture, signing the contract, etc., etc., and he'll be officially a part of the squad and not going out on loan, it seems. He will be a part of Jurgen Klopp's first team next year, which is very, very exciting. And I think a lot of us are looking forward to exactly how he's going to figure in a Jurgen Klopp team. Will he be a midfielder? Will he be an attacker? I think it's going to be a bit of both. I don't think this coming season we're going to see the final product, the final placement. It might just be about embedding him in the squad, giving him minutes here and there. I don't expect him to be a regular starter, but I expect him to be on the bench an awful lot and picking up minutes and occasionally playing in, you know, quote-unquote easier games and some of the Carabao Cup and FA Cup earlier stages. Of course, Calvin Ramsey, someone else who it's been rumoured that we've had a deal in place with for bloody ages. That looks like it's going to be finalised within, you know, the next couple of weeks. Nothing absolutely concrete yet, but by all intents and purposes, we have finally put out a bid for him. It's slightly short of what Aberdeen are looking for, but we are well in for him. He's, you know, I imagine buzzing to join us, hopefully. That's the kind of player that we want. Is he going to make a massive impact? I don't know. Is he going to feature a lot in the early stages of the Cups, in some of the, again, quote-unquote easier games in the Premier League? I hope so. I hope we do get to see him. I hope we get to see a lot more of him in his first season than we did of Kostas Tsimikas in his first season, which was beyond his control and not his fault. But it would be great to see him. And do we have a new gem on our hands? Is there someone who could really rival Trent Alexander-Arnold, both defensively and, of course, his attacking qualities? Who knows? And that's something that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. And, of course, Darwin Núñez. We've been on about him all week, how close we are to finally getting him over the line. He's waiting in Spain. He's waiting for the green light to come over here and do his medical, to sign that contract, and then he'll be a massive part of our squad moving forward. A striker, a number 9 who likes to drift wide. We'll see exactly how that sets up, and I'm sure he can contribute massively to our upcoming season. Now I've wasted enough time just recapping and talking about what I'd like to happen with current squad members and players that it looks like we've already signed. Let's talk about who else I would love us to sign. Disclaimer, this does not mean that we're in for them or that I think it's realistic that we get them. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move on. Starting a little bit left field, I'd like us to get the cycling goalkeeper. Adrian should never play for us. Karius, as I said, has finally left us. Kelleher, I really hope he stays, but whenever he's spoken to about his situation, he always doesn't really give much of a concrete answer. I suggest that means he's probably looking for a loan. If so, we definitely need to look at a really competent backup. Whether that would be Ben Foster, I don't know, but as a third choice keeper, absolutely. Get him in. He can replace Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on all the social medias. We can get an insight into the club and the players. I think it would just be great to have him around and all of the media and the buzz that his podcast and that he himself brings. And let's not forget, he's not a bad goalkeeper. You know, he's getting on a bit. He's on the old side, bless him. But I think he would. It's cheap. It's not gonna. It's gonna cost a sod all. It's risk free because he's going to be third choice. Let's just get him in, get it over the line, and you know, enjoy some good content from behind the scenes, which is always nice to see. In defence, I'm not changing anything. Calvin Ramsey's coming in. Kanate came in last year, done fantastically. Matip looks his best self ever. Joe Gomez, more than competent, also filling in at right back. But if he wants to stay, if he wants to sign that new deal, which is apparently being reported, he absolutely can. In my book, I know there's some on this channel who don't like him. And would like to see the back of him potentially or go out on loan. Let's keep him. We've had defensive crises in the past. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's keep that centre-back position stacked up. Kostas Tsimikas as well, backing up Andy Robertson. Calvin Ramsey coming in and backing up Trent. Connor Bradley in the wings if we need him. I think we're stacked there, and I don't think anybody's really pining for a new defensive signing. In midfield, it's a tricky one. It's a very, very tricky one because all three roles in our midfield as we know it do very different things. It's very hard to get someone who could competently fill in all three of those roles. Someone who's a destroyer, someone who's a controller of the game, and someone who's more confident on the front foot and attacking and actually getting wide and stretching the pitch for us on that right-sided 8 role. For me, my choice, again, go back to that disclaimer, I would go for Gavi. It looks like he's going to sign. It looks like he's going to extend with Barcelona. That's beyond my control. If it was down to me, I'd go for Gavi. I know a lot of people will have said Bellingham, and this may be completely wrong of me, naive of me. Sometimes his attitude stinks me out a little bit. Sometimes his attitude just doesn't come across right, and I don't know how that would fit. I know he's so young. He's got room to grow. He's got room to be told off. He's got room to get in line with Klopp's system and the dressing room atmosphere. I think it was Dortmund versus Rangers. He really exploded on one of his compatriots. And whilst we've seen unhappy players at substitutions, etc., I think there's such a togetherness when whoever the starting 11 is for this Liverpool team. If that's a regular occurrence, and I would need someone else to confirm that for me, if he is very, very hot-headed like I've seen on a couple of occasions, I don't know how well he'd fit, and maybe he needs to grow out of that away from Liverpool. That we've got bigger things to worry about than the attitude of Jude Bellingham. If he could stay at Dortmund for a year or two more, sort that out, fantastic. I'd go for Gavi. I think he's so young, got such a high ceiling, and has proven himself to be pretty versatile. He's a highly endeavouring player, not scared to get forward, get on the front foot, not scared to receive the ball and pass it about, and absolutely not scared to get into an aerial duel, ground duels, making those interceptions, winning the ball back on the transition as well. So there's so much to work with there. He's so young, so versatile. I think he would be a brilliant addition. It's incredibly unlikely. If he signs this deal, that's over. We're never getting him. It looks like he's one of those players. He's a La Masia player. He doesn't want to leave Barca. Barca's his dream. You can understand why. It's fair enough. But if we could get that over the line with that big money offer, I would love it. And that would just be such a long-term, not solution, because we don't know, but what an amazing addition that would be to the youngsters that we're bringing through. Calvin Ramsey, Kostas Tsimikas kind of, although he's more towards the middle of his career, coming into his peak. Trent's still just about a young player. Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones, Fabio Carvalho. What an amazing second generation, even third generation, because Gavi's like, 17, 18? That's a third generation player. That takes us, if he stayed with us for his whole career from now, he'd be with us into the 2030s. That's insane. And that's the sort of signings that I would love to see us make. I caveat that by saying that I'm not going to criticise any transfer decisions that we make, because up until now, we've been pretty faultless. People can point to Minamino as being a bit of a failure, but for the same reasons I said I want to keep him. We're going to get £17 million for him, it looks like. We're going to make a £10 million profit on a supposed transfer failure. In FSG's books, in anyone's books, a £10 million profit is a success. We haven't missed. Marco Grujic, we even made a profit on him despite him barely making 5 appearances in the Premier League. I don't even know if he made any. We do not miss. We do not miss. And for that reason, I would go for Gavi, but I'm not going to criticise if we don't. It's unlikely, and I'm not going to criticise many other transfer decisions that we make in this window or any other window. And I would advise people to take a bit more of a look at that. I know it's easy to think when Man City go off and sign Haaland. Luckily, we replied with Darwin Núñez, but people just get very on edge straight away when other clubs make signings, and it looks like we're not doing particularly much. Up front, I really would leave it. I think a midfielder is the only person I'd bring in. Up front, we've been linked with Martin Terrier. I'm going to do a player analysis on him. It might already be on the channel by this point, so go and check that out if it is. If not, stay tuned. It will be. I just think we're so stacked. I think Mane goes this year, 40 million. Thank you very much. That can go towards a Bellingham in next year or the year after. Salah, I think he stays and wears down his contract and leaves us next season on a free, which is a bit annoying, but I'd much rather keep him for another year because I think he will come back hot as shit and on fire. Firmino, keep him as a backup. I mean, that's a great option to have. Jota, the forgotten man. He is going to bounce back, I'm telling you now. Luis Diaz, a full pre-season under his belt. He's going to come out like a man on fire. Darwin Núñez as well. When he gets embedded into the squad, I'm sure he's going to make a terrific addition to that fantabulous front five that we now seem to have. And I'm excited to see the future. So a bit of a boring one from me, not too many additions, one addition altogether, but we discussed the outgoings as well. Let me know what your dream summer is in the comments below, and whilst you're there, please do like the video and please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to be, well, it's already been a bit of a long break from the football season, so stay tuned here. We go live every day at 7:30 and have regular content during the day to keep you occupied until the season gets underway, and then we can really start to enjoy ourselves as well once we know who we've signed and how the season's starting to pan out. So please do that. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.